without further ado, let's go ahead and watch this video.
January 6th, 2011. MIT police tackle a 24-year-old on the sidewalk. They find a hard drive in his bag, 4.8 million academic articles.
Damn.
1 week later, federal prosecutors deliver 13 felony counts, 35 years in prison for downloading research papers. But then the prosecutors discover who they just arrested. This kid co-created Reddit. He architected RSS, the backbone of every newsfeed on Earth. He's a millionaire at 19, a folk hero at 24.
Right. A beast.
Months earlier, he rallied the entire internet, Wikipedia, Google, 115,000 sites, to kill Congress's censorship bill in the largest online protest in history. He won, and now the government wants revenge. His trial date is April 1st, 2013, but he never makes it. 11 weeks before trial, he's found dead in his Brooklyn apartment.
What?
The internet erupts. His father blames the government. But the law that killed him? Still on the books today, still destroying lives. Who was this programmer willing to die for free knowledge? And why did downloading research papers become a death sentence? Aaron Swartz uploads his first major code at 14. The year is 2000. The project is RSS 1.0, really simple syndication, the backbone that delivers news feeds to millions of browsers. Most teenagers are learning algebra. Aaron is architecting how information flows across the web. By 19, he's a millionaire. His startup, Infogami, merges into a social news site called Reddit.
My boy's a millionaire by 19. I knew I should have been a nerd. Damn it, I should have learned all I could have about computers. I'd have been rich.
He should be celebrating in Silicon Valley, cashing checks, building empires. Instead, he quits. Office politics at Condé Nast, Reddit's new parent company,
my boy
suffocate
said,
him.
"No, I'm good."
The corporate grind clashes with the mission burning in his chest. Democratize knowledge, open government data, challenge gatekeepers who hoard information for profit. He pivots to activism, bouncing between projects that scratch that itch. In 2008, at 21,
You make him sound like a crackhead. He needs to scratch that itch, bro. Damn. I guess.
he walks into a public library in Illinois, pulls up a website called Pacer, Public Access to Court Electronic Records.
I remember this.
The federal court system charges 8 cents per page to view public domain documents.
Just think about that, right? Say you had a case in court and you needed to get documents from that case. You had to pay for that. I think the Freedom of Information Act is probably one of the best things that could have happened in this country.
Case files, rulings, motions, all taxpayer funded, all behind a paywall. 8 cents adds up. The service generates $120 million annually from citizens accessing their own legal system.
Crazy.
Aaron writes a script. He exploits a free trial program at 17 participating libraries, downloading 19 million pages of court documents in 6 weeks.
Damn.
The FBI notices the anomaly: massive data extraction from government servers. They open an investigation and Aaron notices. For weeks, he waits for agents to knock on his door. But Pacer is technically free through library terminals. No password theft, no unauthorized access, no clear crime. The FBI eventually backs off. Investigation closed without charges. The close call doesn't scare Aaron straight. It radicalizes him. If public information sits behind paywalls, someone must liberate it. In July 2008, he publishes a manifesto that ricochets through digital rights circles. Information is power. But like all power, there are those who want to keep it for themselves. The world's entire scientific and cultural heritage, published over centuries in books and journals, is increasingly being digitized and locked up by a handful of private corporations. The essay, titled Guerrilla Open Access Manifesto, becomes a rallying cry. By 2010, a movement coalesces. Academics, librarians, activists demanding universal access to research funded by taxpayer dollars. Aaron becomes their unlikely champion, the coder with revolutionary fire. But manifestos without action are just words. Somewhere in Boston, Aaron eyes a new target: JSTOR, a non-profit archive holding 4.8 million scholarly articles behind institutional paywalls. If you've hit a $30 per article wall researching online, you've met JSTOR. Universities pay 6-figure subscriptions. Individual access costs hundreds annually. The public pays researchers salaries through grants, then pays again to read their work.
That hustle is crazy. Just imagine that you have to do a research paper and you're in college. And obviously, because you're going to college, you have the ability to look at this portal. But if you're not and you need to do this research, you got to pay. You got to have a yearly subscription. Come on now. Was this like streaming sites before we had streaming sites? This is crazy.
Aaron sees a ransom on knowledge. He's about to stage a rescue that will land him in federal court. But first, he needs a network, a login, and a closet where no one checks. MIT's campus offers all three. And in September 2010, Aaron Swartz joins their network, launching the download that will define and end his life. What weakness in MIT's security will he exploit to access millions of articles undetected? And what surveillance mistake will he make that turns a data liberation into a federal case?
Damn.
September 2010. Aaron creates a ghost account on MIT's open network. The campus operates on a principle of radical openness. Any visitor can plug into Ethernet jacks in hallways, libraries, common areas. No password required. He's a fellow at Harvard's Center for Ethics, which grants him legitimate JSTOR credentials. Harvard's license allows unlimited downloads for research, but Aaron isn't researching. He's liberating. He writes a Python script that automates bulk downloads. His laptop hits JSTOR's servers with hundreds of requests per minute, vacuuming PDFs at industrial speed.
This guy's definitely a genius. He was probably worth more than $1 million at 19. Come on now. Get his man his dues. Is he a hero or a hacker? What do you guys think? Let me know.
JSTOR's Network Operations Center watches their bandwidth spike. This isn't a student researching a thesis. This is a data extraction on scale. They respond by blocking Aaron's IP address. He switches to a different MIT address and resumes. JSTOR blocks that one too. Then he switches again. This escalates into digital warfare, Aaron's script versus JSTOR's blacklist. JSTOR makes a drastic move. They block MIT's entire IP range, cutting off legitimate users campus-wide. MIT students suddenly can't access journals for coursework. The university's IT security team scrambles to understand who's causing this chaos. By late October, JSTOR contacts MIT directly. Someone on your network is attacking our servers. Find them. MIT tightens monitoring but can't pinpoint the source. Aaron keeps hopping IPS, randomizing download patterns. So he escalates. Physical proximity might bypass their filters. On a November afternoon, Aaron walks into Building 16 carrying a messenger bag. The building houses the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory. He locates an unlocked wiring closet on the second floor. Inside, blinking switches, cable racks, the nervous system of MIT's network. He pulls out an Acer netbook and a portable external drive, hides them behind server equipment, plugs directly into a network switch. The laptop runs headless, no monitor, no keyboard, just code executing in darkness. It spoofs legitimate MIT credentials, evades JSTOR's IP blocks through constant rotation, stores articles on the external drive at hyperspeed. Aaron exits the closet, closes the door, walks off campus.
Now, if you wonder why those IT closets are now locked and secured and have motion sensors in them and all this other fancy bells and whistles, you probably got Aaron to thank.
And here, the laptop begins its harvest. Within 2 weeks, it downloads over 2 million articles.
Damn.
By Christmas, that number doubles. 4.8 million scholarly papers, physics, biology, history, literature, mathematics,
everything.
The accumulated knowledge of 300 years, all funneled through 70 square feet of basement closet. But JSTOR's engineers are tracking every download. They trace the flood to MIT's internal network, pinpoint the building, narrow it to a floor. On January 4th, 2011, MIT's IT staff searches the wiring closet and finds the foreign device. They don't disconnect it. Instead, MIT police install a motion-activated camera aimed at the closet entrance.
Damn.
They want the downloader's face. On January 6th, at 8:42 a.m., the camera records a figure in a white helmet entering, swapping hard drives. 73 seconds of footage. Aaron has no idea he's starring in surveillance video. He exits Building 16, helmet tucked under his arm, fresh drive in his bag. But 5 officers move in. Stop right there. Hands go up.
See, this is one of those times that you could be like, yo, free my boy Aaron. Aaron didn't do nothing. Come on. You're telling me that he stole some information that is free online? They didn't say you couldn't take all the files. He's doing research. He's doing lifelong research. Come on now. Let the man go, yo. Aaron didn't do nothing.
Handcuffs click shut. The Secret Service agent, Cybercrimes Division, reads him Miranda rights on the sidewalk. Aaron's face drains of color. A witness later describes him as looking like a scared kid caught shoplifting, not a hardened criminal. Because that's what this is. A library download escalated into federal theater. MIT police drive him to Cambridge Station for booking. 2 local charges, breaking and entering, though the closet was unlocked, larceny of data.
Right.
He posts
Crazy.
bail, $10,000 within hours. Walking out onto Massachusetts Avenue, Aaron must be thinking this is a misunderstanding. JSTOR recovered their data since he never released it. They'll drop charges, right? What Aaron doesn't know, federal prosecutors are already reviewing the Secret Service report. They see an opportunity to redefine what hacking means and to make sure Aaron Swartz becomes the cautionary tale. Why would prosecutors turn a terms of service violation into a federal crusade? And what obscure 1986 law will they weaponize to threaten him with decades in prison? January 6th, 2011.
Oh, January
Aaron leaves Cambridge
6th.
Jail. 2 local charges.
I hope that didn't trigger nobody in the chat. Everything happens on January 6th. You guys notice that?
2011. Aaron leaves Cambridge Jail. 2 local charges on paper. Breaking and entering, and larceny of data. Misdemeanors, probably. His lawyers are confident. JSTOR's already signaling they won't pursue civil action. They got their articles back. No public release. No financial harm. Within a week,
Yeah, all right.
JSTOR formally declines to press charges. The
Oh, okay.
nonprofit issues a statement. They consider the matter closed. MIT stays silent. For a moment, this looks like a college prank that got out of hand, soon to be resolved with a fine or community service. Then the U.S. Attorney's Office for Massachusetts steps in.
Of course. Let me guess.
Carmen Ortiz, the federal prosecutor, sees Aaron's case differently.
How'd I know?
This isn't a terms of service violation. It's computer fraud, a felony under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, enacted in 1986 to combat hacking. The law defines unauthorized access broadly, exceeding permission on a computer system.
See, the crazy part about just that statement alone is he didn't hack anything. He plugged into a portal and he created a code that allowed him to download information that was allowing you to download things anyways. Now, did he do it at an ultra fast speed? Yes, but it doesn't change what he did. So here we go again with the federal government trying to trump up charges.
Aaron had permission to use MIT's network. He had permission to download from JSTOR through Harvard. But did he have permission to download 4.8 million articles using an automated script and a hidden laptop?
Why not?
The statute's vague enough that prosecutors can argue he crossed the line.
Of course.
On July 11th, 2011, a federal grand jury returns an indictment. 4 felony counts: wire fraud, computer fraud, unlawfully obtaining information from a protected computer, and recklessly damaging a protected computer. The maximum sentence is 35 years in federal prison,
Damn.
plus $1 million in fines. The tech world erupts. Lawrence Lessig, Harvard law professor and Aaron's mentor, calls the charges absurd. Tim Berners-Lee, inventor of the World Wide Web, says the prosecution is a gross miscarriage of justice.
You think?
But the Justice Department doubles down. Stephen Heyman, the lead prosecutor, frames Aaron as a thief who broke into MIT's network to steal millions of dollars worth of intellectual property. The framing ignores that Aaron never sold the articles, never leaked them publicly, never profited a cent. Aaron pleads not guilty across all counts. His legal team prepares for trial. Meanwhile, prosecutors keep stacking charges. In September 2012, a superseding indictment adds 9 more felonies, which means 13 counts total.
Crazy. And that's how the federal government wins. You notice that they have a conviction record of like 97%. They do that because they scare the person with like, oh, if you go to trial, this is our conviction rate and you're going to go to jail. It's like sometimes it's better to just go to trial. Who thinks I'm wrong? I want to know the people who think I'm wrong.
Sentence exposure jumps to 50 years, though realistically, guidelines suggest 35. Aaron is 26 years old. He could serve more time than he's been alive for downloading articles written by academics who often support open access themselves. The government offers a deal. Plead guilty to one felony,
Bullshit
serve
deal.
6 months in federal prison, and have a felony record for life.
Yeah,
6 months
No,
for your
thank you.
freedom. To most people, it's obvious. Take the deal and move on. But Aaron sees it differently. Pleading guilty brands him a criminal, validates
Exactly.
the prosecution's narrative, sets precedent for future cases under the CFAA. If downloading academic articles is a felony, what's next? Violating a website's terms of service? Sharing your Netflix password? The law is too broad, too vague, too easily weaponized. Someone has to fight it, so Aaron refuses the deal. His friends panic. His family pleads. His girlfriend watches him sink under the weight. Legal fees drain his savings. The trial date, April 2013, looms like a guillotine. But even as his personal crisis deepens, Aaron spots a different battle, one that threatens everyone who uses the internet. If the government wants to make an example of him, he'll make an example of them by leading a movement that brings Congress to its knees. Can a programmer under federal indictment rally the entire internet to kill a bill backed by Hollywood's billions? And will this victory make prosecutors more determined to destroy him? October 2011. While Aaron's legal team files
Here we go.
motions in Massachusetts, Congress introduces 2 bills, the Stop Online Piracy Act,
Of course.
SOPA, in the House, the Protect IP Act, PIPA, in the Senate. Ostensibly, they target foreign websites trafficking in pirated movies, music, software. The entertainment industry, Hollywood studios, record labels pours $94 million into lobbying for passage.
Of course they
Disney,
do.
NBC Universal, Warner Bros., the Motion Picture Association of America line up behind legislation they say will protect American jobs and intellectual property.
They don't
But the
care
bill's
about
language
American
is
jobs.
catastrophic. SOPA grants the Justice Department power to order internet service providers to block entire domains suspected of hosting copyrighted content. Suspected, not proven. Payment
Wow.
processors and advertisers could be forced to cut off any site the government deems problematic. If a user uploaded a copyrighted image to your website, the entire site could vanish from the web. Wikipedia, YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, all vulnerable to takedown based on user-generated content they don't directly control. It's censorship infrastructure disguised as anti-piracy. Most Americans have never heard of SOPA. Tech journalists sound alarms, but mainstream media ignores them. In Congress, the bill has bipartisan support. Lawmakers who can barely describe how a browser works are ready to vote yes.
And you notice that especially what he just said, lawmakers who barely know how to use a browser are ready to vote yes on a bill that they, 1, most likely don't understand, 2, probably didn't even read in full, and 3, is backed by lobbyists. This right here is the exact problem with our federal government. You have people who are weighing in their expertise on things they know nothing about. What a lovely country we live in, huh?
The lobbyists have done their job. The vote is scheduled for January 2012.
And I just want to say, don't get me wrong, I love America. I'm not like this kind of person who hates America. I do. But it has its flaws. And some of its flaws are so apparent that it's just like, it's sometimes sickening that people really either don't care or don't see that.
Aaron sees the nightmare unfolding. Despite facing 13 felonies, he dives into the fight. He co-founds Demand Progress, a digital rights nonprofit, to organize opposition. He reaches out to tech companies, civil liberties groups, and anyone who will listen. This bill will break the internet, he tells them. Not metaphorically, but technically. DNS blocking, the mechanism SOPA uses, will fracture how the web routes traffic.
Yeah.
And the precedent for government censorship will metastasize. Aaron proposes a radical idea, a coordinated internet blackout, going dark for one day.
Yeah.
Show Congress what censorship looks like.
And I remember
Reddit's
this too.
leadership agrees immediately. Aaron helped create the site, after all. Wikipedia debates intensely, then signs on. Google, Tumblr, and even WordPress join. By January 17, 2012, over 115,000 websites commit to the protest.
Yeah.
The next day, January 18th, the internet goes black. Wikipedia replaces its articles with a message: "Imagine a world without free knowledge."
Yeah.
Google plasters a black censorship bar over its logo. Reddit shuts down entirely, redirecting users to a call to action page. The sites provide Congress's phone numbers. Millions of calls flood Capitol Hill.
And I remember how crazy it was. And I'm like, what? They're trying to censor the internet? How does that work? I was only 22 years old, so I wouldn't say I knew a lot about how the world worked, but this definitely caught my attention. And, you know, I could see even at that young age how this could affect us moving forward. And I still think it actually affects us today, but I'll get into that later.
So many that phone systems crash. If you appreciate this kind of storytelling about digital rights and internet freedom, hit that like button and subscribe. More stories about the people who shape the web are coming, and you won't want to miss them. Within 24 hours, 18 senators withdraw their support for PIPA.
That was quick.
30 Congress members flip on SOPA. House Majority Leader Eric Cantor announces the bill is postponed indefinitely. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid shelves PIPA. It's a stunning victory. Grassroots internet users defeating Hollywood's lobbyist army and congressional momentum.
For now.
On January 20th, Aaron speaks at a rally in New York, voice shaking with emotion. "We won this fight because everyone made themselves the hero of their own story. Everyone took it as their job to save this freedom." The crowd roars. For one shining moment, Aaron Swartz is vindicated. The hacker activist under indictment just helped organize the largest online protest in history. But victories don't erase felony charges. Carmen Ortiz's office doesn't drop the case.
I don't know. They're probably
Stephen
coming at you
Heyman
harder
doesn't
now.
soften his stance. If anything, Aaron's increased visibility makes them more determined.
Yeah, exactly.
He's now a folk hero in tech circles, a symbol of resistance. That makes him a bigger target.
And this is just a perfect example as well of how when we come together as a people, we can really defeat anything that's thrown at us, right? I feel like we're living in a time of a lot of divisiveness, and all of that shit is manufactured. Most of us, or at least more than not, we agree on the same shit. We want the same shit. We want to make money. We want to be able to pay our bills. We want to be able to enjoy our lives as well and be able to take time off. Like, we all want some of the same shit or most of the same shit. And we differ in small things around this subject. So if we come together, there's no stopping us. That's why they got to come at this kid so hard, right? And anybody else who they see that can get people together, because if people really came together, we could really change things, especially for the better.
By late 2012, SOPA is dead, but Aaron's trial is alive and scheduled. The plea deal remains on the table: 6 months in prison and a felony conviction. But he still refuses. His lawyers file motions to access evidence, suppress certain testimony, challenge the CFAA's constitutionality. Prosecutors file counters. The legal machinery grinds forward, indifferent to Aaron's mental state, his bank account, his will to fight. The trial date is set, April 1st, 2013, 12 weeks away. Will his legal team find a defense that cracks the CFAA's broad language, or will Aaron crumble under the pressure before he ever sees a courtroom? Winter 2012.
Here we go.
Brooklyn. Aaron rents a small apartment in Crown Heights, trying to maintain normalcy as the trial clock counts down. Outwardly, he's optimistic with friends, convinced a jury will see the absurdity of the charges. Inwardly, he's dissolving. Sleep becomes erratic. He jokes darkly that federal agents are probably reading his emails. They likely are. Discovery documents later reveal extensive surveillance. His girlfriend, Taryn Steinbrickner Kaufman, notices he's distant, lost in calculations of worst-case scenarios.
I would too. I'm looking at 35 years in jail. Come on now.
Now he's staring into an abyss that might swallow the rest of his life. The plea deal sits on the table like a loaded gun. Prosecutors still demand a felony conviction.
Imagine bringing your side project to life.
These commercials are killing me. Why you do this to me, YouTube?
Not 6 months anymore. Now they're hinting at more prison time if he waits until trial. Carmen Ortiz's office reportedly tells his lawyers that Aaron needs to be made an example of, that he can't just treat MIT's network as his personal playground. Aaron's legal team urges him to reconsider. 6 months, even a year, take it. You're 26. You have decades ahead. Don't gamble your life on a trial. But Aaron can't do it. Pleading guilty means validating the prosecution, branding himself a criminal, legitimizing the CFAA as a tool for criminalizing behavior that
Also, once you have a felony on your record, you're barred from so many things. And I can understand Aaron's point of view, especially he probably has a bright future. There's going to be a lot of jobs he won't be able to get, specifically around cybersecurity, and especially when it comes to security clearances. Like, come on, man. You know, I know it's easy for me to say this, but I would definitely have fought it. Like, there's no way a jury looks at what he did and tries to, that it's as bad as they're trying to portray him. Like, it's just nonsense.
shouldn't be criminal. If I take this deal, he tells a friend, what happens to the next person they come after?
Right.
January 2013. His lawyers file final pre-trial motions, hoping to suppress evidence or dismiss charges on constitutional grounds. Behind closed doors, there's talk of another plea proposal, possibly probation with a felony. But prosecutors refuse to drop the felony requirement. That's the sticking point, not jail time, the label. Once you're a convicted felon, doors close permanently. Employment, travel, voting rights, security clearances.
Exactly.
Carmen Ortiz wants
Literally,
that
what
label
I just
attached
said.
to Aaron Swartz forever. Aaron's friends stage an intervention. His brother, his girlfriend, his mentor Lawrence Lessig all plead with him to accept reality. But Aaron is paralyzed, unable to admit guilt for what he believes was moral action, unable to face the alternative. January 11th, 2013, evening. His girlfriend Taryn is out of town. Aaron is alone in the Brooklyn apartment. What happens in those final hours? No one knows. He leaves no note. At some point, he hangs himself. Taryn finds him the next morning. News spreads through Twitter within hours. Aaron Swartz is dead. The reaction is immediate and volcanic. Vigils organize in Boston, San Francisco, New York, London. MIT's campus is plastered with posters. MIT, why did you betray Aaron? Students demand the administration explain why the university cooperated with federal prosecutors instead of protecting a young activist. MIT President Raphael Reif orders an internal review. The resulting report, released months later, concludes MIT stayed neutral, neither supporting nor opposing the prosecution. This satisfies almost no one. Critics say neutrality in the face of prosecutorial overreach is complicity. The Justice Department becomes a lightning rod. A petition demanding Carmen Ortiz's firing gathers 65,000 signatures. Congressman Darrell Issa calls for an investigation into whether prosecutors overcharged Aaron to coerce a plea.
But did she get fired?
The lead prosecutor, Stephen Heyman, stays silent. Ortiz releases a statement defending the case. Stealing is stealing, whether you use a computer command or a crowbar. Aaron's father, Robert Swartz, speaks at the funeral.
Stealing isn't downloading though, or downloading isn't stealing. So even that, just like, this whole case is just like, just threw me for a loop. Like, what? He did what? He didn't even steal nothing. He downloaded a bunch of shit that he could from a portal. He just did a lot more documents than maybe a regular person who was actually using those documents for research would. And they can't even prove he was going to give them to anybody. He never released them. So what is the crime? Downloading? Come on now. It just sounds like bullshit.
Was killed by the government. He was killed by the government, and MIT betrayed all of its basic principles.
Damn.
The charges are quietly dropped. No point prosecuting a dead man. But the national conversation explodes. Was Aaron Swartz a criminal or a martyr? The debate exploded after his death. Congress, stung by public outcry, introduces Aaron's law to reform the CFAA and prevent minor violations from becoming federal felonies. Representative Zoe Lofgren sponsors it. The bill gains momentum, then stalls. Law enforcement lobbying kills it in committee. The CFAA remains on the books in 2025, still weaponized against hackers and activists. But the institutions Aaron fought begin to shift. MIT and Harvard expand their open access repositories.
Of course.
JSTOR launches free reading access for the public. Academic publishers experiment with open models. SecureDrop, the whistleblower platform he helped build, is deployed by the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Guardian. Young programmers launch Sci-Hub, a shadow library of academic papers inspired by Aaron's manifesto. Aaron Swartz was 26 when he died. He left behind a movement that refuses to let his death be meaningless. The prodigy who tried to free the internet paid the ultimate price, but his question still hangs over us. Who gets to own knowledge, and at what cost do we enforce that ownership? The battle didn't end with Aaron Swartz. It's still being fought, one download, one case, one law at a time. And if you want to understand another...
That's crazy. Those are two very good questions right there. Who owns the knowledge? Who owns it? Oh man, I forget who said it, but it said, if you want to keep people stupid, or if you want to keep knowledge away from people, just put it in books. And it's like, this is crazy. We have the most information at our fingertips we've ever had, and people are probably the stupidest they've ever been. And I know that's kind of a little bit left from what we were talking about in this case, but I think he was a martyr. I would call him a hero.